Yeah.
It's about making sure that you really understand what USC is offering to our students and to our alums, how you can be involved, and how you can also spread the word about the inclusive environment that you're going to find at Carolina. I want to make sure too, and I know that I'm going to put you on the spot, Riley, but if you don't mind, I'd like to put you on the spot so you can introduce yourself, because Riley is also part of our Alumni Council. So I'll turn it to you, Riley.
I'm Riley Kane. I'm a 2014 grad. I live in Richmond, Virginia, so I'm one of the national seats for the council, and excited for this event.
Me too. Riley, thank you for being here. As other members of the council join in, we'll also give them a chance to introduce themselves. This will also become a conversation. You're going to hear updates from Caroline. You're going to hear more from student leaders at the university, and then we're going to open up to questions you may have. A little bit of background of where I am. Riley said she is in Richmond. I am in Columbia, actually. I'm on the campus of Midlands Technical College, which is where I work as the Director of Academic and Career Advising, and my connection to USC as a graduate student goes, well, to graduate school, where I finished in 2012 with my master's in higher ed administration and student affairs. And I've had the opportunity to both be a student at USC and also be able to help others become students at USC through the partnership here with MTC. So let me again set the stage of what we're going to do this evening. We're going to give you a chance to learn more about the LGBTQ programs and services and opportunities at USC from Caroline Wallace, and I'll introduce Caroline in just a few moments. We'll open it up as well after you've met one of our student leaders to questions that you may have about the current USC experience. But I want to also tell you how you can get involved with the LGBTQ plus Alumni Council. If you have not been to the University of South Carolina's Alumni Association website, I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to become a member as well. And I encourage you to take a look on the website where you're going to see an introduction to all of the members of our Alumni Council. You'll also see a little bit about us. We are brand new. Truly, you are talking to us in our first year of existence, and we're very proud that we are here and that we're able to provide representation and an ambassadorship really for the university. But what that means is we don't have the right to tell you yet we've always done it that way, because we haven't done anything anyway yet. So we invite you to be part of the conversation with us. We invite you to also get the chance to be part of future opportunities and events that we will host. And really, you can join us at the ground level here. We have just now solidified our mission and our vision and the 4 overarching goals that will guide us this year. So the time is ripe to be able to join us in helping those 4 goals come alive. So I can also see, I'm about to put him on the spot too. I can also see that our chair-elect, Joe Wright, has joined us. Joe, will you introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks, Drew. And I apologize for being a little late. I had a little Zoom issues. But hello, everyone. My name is Joe Wright. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I graduated in 2012 with a degree in finance and marketing, and very excited to be on this inaugural journey with Drew and the rest of the council to really help bring a very exciting part, a new chapter for the Alumni Association.
I think what you'll also find as the dialogue goes on is that it's a small world after all. I graduated in 2012. Joe graduated in 2012. In my role as a graduate assistant, I was the Safe Zone graduate assistant. So I did Joe's Safe Zone training. Riley, I feel like we crossed paths there too. I've learned that Caroline, we crossed paths that way. So it's a small world, and hopefully that also makes for great community as we continue in our endeavors. We've also got some other members of the Alumni Council joining us this evening. Sherry Harrington, if you are able to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sherry. I just got here from yoga, so I'm a little disheveled, but the good news is I got to go to yoga. So I actually graduated in 1976 with a degree in English, and then again in 1977 with a library degree. And I'm the Atlanta the Atlanta representative on the Alumni Council. I live in Rome, actually, Rome, Georgia, which if you know Georgia, you know that is not Atlanta, but I'm really proud to be a part of the group. So
we're really proud to have you in the group. And I want to also say too, Simone, we couldn't do anything without you. Simone is our fearless leader within the Alumni Association. And with that said, Simone, do you mind dropping into chat again the link to our Alumni Council page? Because I know we've had new folks join us. And I want to reiterate, we're a brand new organization, which means that the time is right for you to join us and give us your ideas. And we hope that tonight's session gives you a chance to better understand what's happening at UofSC. So with that in mind, let's talk a little bit. And Caroline, I'd like to introduce you. And it's always fun, Caroline, whenever you get to introduce someone because you get to read their illustrious resume and credentials. So I'm going to get started with giving folks a chance to get to know you a bit. Caroline Wallace, whose pronouns are she, her, and hers, currently serves as the Assistant Director for LGBT Education within the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs at, of course, UofSC. Caroline earned her Bachelor of Arts in Art History and her Master of Education in Higher Education and Student Affairs at the University of South Carolina. Caroline was previously a Student Services Specialist at Mitchell Community College and a Graduate Assistant for Orientation and Leadership Development at Columbia College. At the University of South Carolina, Caroline supports programs with LGBTQ plus education, safe zone programs, and OMSA. And again, that stands for the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs, peer educators. Caroline is from Charlotte, North Carolina, and she enjoys playing board games with friends and spending nights binging Netflix, which we all learned to do very well over the past year. So Caroline, I want to turn it over to you so we can learn more about all the great things that you lead. And let me remind you, if you've got a question, type it into chat if you'd like, and know that we will also open the floor up for your questions as we go. Caroline, it's all you.
Thanks, Drew. That sounds like it's a little bit of an older bio because everyone's been watching Netflix recently. So, but hi, y'all. My name's Caroline Wallace. As Drew said, I just am here tonight to give a little bit of an overview of the programs and services that have been created or continued since I graduated from undergrad in 2012. I did both my degrees at UofSC. I know a lot of the people who are in this chat right now from undergrad and graduate school and have been really lucky to see how LGBTQ plus support has grown on this campus since LGBT Safe Zone was in the health services. Safe Zone is now under the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs, and we have been able to expand in some really incredible ways, and so I'm going to talk about those tonight. I do want to say, please feel free to drop questions in the chat. If you want to ask anonymous questions, I'm happy to answer them if you private message those to me. I don't think we have like this is not a webinar, so we don't have like that feature, so please feel free to like just PM me a question or PM Drew or anyone, and we can ask those anonymously on your behalf. I pretty much wanted to start with talking about OMSA. You know, we love like the social change model here, and so talking about the individual and then the community and then the larger community. So I'm going to talk about the office first, and then I'm going to talk about what we do for the Carolina community, and then what we do kind of outside of the Carolina community and the Columbia community and surrounding areas. And y'all are a part of that. The Alumni Association or Alumni Council is going to be a part of the outreach that we do for the larger Carolina community and outside Columbia. So firstly, you know, I think level of data and wanted to start with talking about, you know, that we do have some fairly solid data about how many LGBTQ plus students are on our campus. And so if y'all graduated before, you may have done alcohol EDU or some type of program similar to that. So we have a program now called SAPU, which is Sexual Assault Prevention for Undergraduates, which every single one of our incoming undergraduate students under the age of 23 take. That is a module to talk about healthy behavior, intimate partner violence, etc. But that is where we take a lot of our demographic information. And so our fall 2020 numbers, fall 2019, we always get the new numbers. I'll be getting them like in a week. Fall 2019 numbers show that about 14% of UofSC's campus is LGBTQ. So about 13% LGBTQ plus, and about 1% transgender gender nonconforming. So we're about 3 times larger than 3 times more dense than the national average, which is 4%. And we're about twice as large than for transgender nonconform populations. The national average for TG&C students is about 0.6%. So I'm really excited to have those numbers because I feel that that's always been pretty close to the truth, that we have a really large population of LGBTQ plus students on our campus. And if we scale those numbers up, because those numbers have been pretty consistent over a couple of years, we probably have about 5,000 LGBTQ plus students on our campus. And those are just entry numbers. We may have an even higher percentage if we polled seniors when they leave, right? So just wanted to give, those, as an alum, that made me really excited to know that we have a huge population on our campus. And it's something that we continually try to tell people and teach about when we're doing our Safe Zone programs and such like that. So we're serving a lot of students, and there are a lot of different ways that we serve the students. And so firstly, LGBT programs has really shifted to try to reach students on a really consistent basis. We found that even before COVID, students were really looking for kind of a consistency, not just one-off programming or monthly programming. And so we have 2 programs that fill that kind of like consistent space that they want, that they're looking for. Well, firstly, we have our Intersection Multicultural Lounge. We do have a student lounge now in the Russell House. And that is not just for LGBTQ plus students, that's for students all over multicultural student affairs, or really anyone who wants to come have a space, but we also program in there. And so that is a space for students to come, study, watch TV, watch music, etc., listen to music, watch music videos. And so that is a great space for students, but we also have some specific LGBTQ plus programs. And so firstly, we have our Queer Connections First Year Experience program, which is within the first 6 weeks of school, sort of a Monday night introduction to the university. And so we talk about, we have a presentation about OMSA. We bring in housing to talk about housing options for LGBTQ plus students, both on campus and off campus. We bring in healthcare to talk about all over student service healthcare. We bring in sexual health. We bring in SAFE. We bring in SAVIP. Primary care, et cetera, just talk about healthcare information. So we do a lot of different types of presentations for LGBTQ plus students to get them to meet each other and then also get acclimated to all of the services and programs that UofSC has to offer them. On top of Queer Connections, we also have Cafe with a Q. That is every single Thursday night, and that is really an opportunity for students, LGBTQ plus students, to make connections with each other, whether they're a first year or not. And so we do movie nights, game nights. We have a third Thursday chat. If anybody ever remembers Quenches, like queer lunches that we used to do, those have been kind of pulled into Cafe so that they're always on that Thursday for folks to be able to join. And we have a great group of folks who come every night, and some people maybe pop in once in a while, but it's always there if the students need it. Additionally, we also have affinity groups designed for designed as caucus spaces for even more specialized populations for our LGBT students. So we have our Cutie Pot group, which is for our queer and trans people of color. We have our Greek and LGBT group. We also have our graduate LGBTQ plus student group for folks who maybe feel that an organization isn't quite where they need to be, but for our graduate students, we also want to keep expanding those. So we used to have an asexual, aromantic ACE group, and we want to bring that back. It's really up to what our affinity group leaders want. I don't lead those spaces. Those are run as caucus spaces by people of those identities. So it's really up to our undergraduate or graduate students who want to run those spaces, what types of affinity groups they would like to have. I'm seeing that I'm freezing up. Can y'all still see me?
Yep, we can.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on a little bit of a delay, but I'll keep going. And so those are kind of the summation of these individual connection groups that we have. And then we also do, of course, one-on-one peer support. We work with equal opportunity programs, BIT reports. I help resource students if they come to me and say, you know, I'm looking to get involved with counseling. We get them sourced to counseling, whatever they need. We do a lot of one-on-one support as well. But besides just the small groups we also do a lot of large programming. And so I would love to potentially get the Alumni Association involved, or excuse me, Alumni Council involved in some programming that we do, such as Pride Cello, which is every April. We started doing Pride Cello 3 years ago, and that's just a campus-wide Pride event. You know, Columbia Pride is in October, so we do UofSC Pride in April, and that's a really fun event. We have performers of all types of queer performers, drag queens, spoken word, student performers, etc. And then we have people table. This year there wasn't food. Well, no, there was food this year. There were desserts and stuff. We always have a little bit of food and just an opportunity to celebrate Pride right behind Russell House here at the patio. That's a really fun event, but we do a lot of the large scale types of programming and holidays. So we're still doing Trans Day Remembrance Vigils. We stepped away from National Coming Out Day, but I think it's back by popular demand this year. And because we saw other schools were kind of stepping away from National Coming Out Day, but we're coming back to it. Everybody's coming back to it. And so we're going to be doing that again on October 11th. We'll probably also honor Indigenous, because it is Indigenous Peoples Day. That's some programming for Coming Out Day. And we also do a lot of large-scale programming still. We brought Dominique Jackson a few years ago, Jacob Tobiah a few years ago, just to make sure that our students have role models and meet some really cool queer actors and speakers and activists around the country. Birdcage, I know we've got questions. Is Birdcage still around? Yes, Birdcage is still around. Iris is still doing Birdcage. If you were here when it was BGLSA has changed their name to Iris, and they are now individuals accepting identities and sexualities. So same great group, new great name. And so they still do Birdcage. They still collaborate with Carolina Corrections and also now Residence Hall Association to put on that awesome event. We still get a major headliner. We had Shangela 3 years ago. We had a Blue Girl this year, and her name just totally went out of my brain. I was going to say we were very excited. I don't even have a poster over here, so I can't show you. But still a great program, still fairly open. So hopefully we can get some alumni council folks at Birdcage next year. So that is all of the big programming stuff that we do with OMSA, a lot of our one-on-one support, etc., everything. But on the other half, we also do education. And so the Safe Zone program is still thriving. Last year, when we put Safe Zone online, we ended up doing 40 Safe Zones over the course of the year, and the Safe Zone training 800 people on our campus, which is just stellar. And so I'm so happy that our campus has been able to really be able to represent and show a willingness to learn about the Safe Zone program and get the stickers and be on the registry. And it's such a great continuation of a program that has existed for so long. And it's not just surviving, it's thriving, it's doing great. So on top of Safe Zone, we do U101 presentations, general presentations for all of campus. A lot of them go to U101. That's our LGBT 101. We also do a program called Alphabet Soup, which is primarily for I
have a feeling Caroline will come back. But I also have to say that when she said earlier, I'm on a bit of a delay, but we're going to keep going. I was like, is that not all LGBTQ plus things? We're on a little bit of a delay, but we're going to get there. So I loved that. Let me take a minute while we wait for Caroline to join us. I have the trend of putting our alumni council members on the spot. So I'm going to keep doing that if you don't mind. And Caroline, we're just diverting real fast to folks introducing themselves. So we're coming back to you. Brian, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Brian Merle. I have an advertising agency in Columbia named ADCO, and I'm on the council. What else would you like to know?
Listen, I think that y'all need to hear that you gave something that's significant in our Carolina lives, its name.
When I worked for the marching band, I was in the marching band, and when we joined the Southeastern Conference, I named the band The Mighty Sound of the Southeast. So that's my
Famous
contribution. Yeah.
Brian, we will be queuing people to get your autograph later after this. So. All right, and we're going to introduce Rodney in a little bit, but not yet, Rodney. We're going to go back to Caroline, okay? So Caroline, hit it.
I apologize. I had to do a last-minute venue change because they wanted to wax the floors next to my office, so I'm on a little bit of an unstable connection right now. But I'm back. I was just talking about Safe Zone. I was talking about Alphabet Soup. So Alphabet Soup is just an opportunity. We talk a little bit more about the LGBT community. So you get like the 30,000-foot view with the Safe Zone, and then we try to cram as absolute much as we can in 3 hours into that. But we also have Alphabet Soup, so we talk about LGBT people in the South. We talk about the history of lesbian identity. We talk about what Stonewall was, like what really happened at Stonewall, what happened to the history, you know, and so really trying to get into LGBT communities and talk more about the nuances around identity than we necessarily can get in a safe zone. And so that's a lot, but I mean, those are our programs. We do a lot of work for a large community, and the work isn't just within the office. I mean, and please, if anybody is affiliated with the university, you know, maybe we could do an alumni safe zone. I would love to do one, or please sign up or give me a call. We'd love to come bring them to your office or your unit or whatever. But then also I want to talk about how much we've been able to accomplish in the larger community, for the larger Gamecock community. And so much of this started before I was here, when I was still in undergrad, really. And so in about 2013, we started what's known as the Trans Task Force. And that was an opportunity or a committee working to further transgender inclusion on the campus. And now we're in 2021, and a few of those things haven't been accomplished, but we have gotten a lot of them. We really checked the box on a lot of these initiatives in the last couple of years. And so, for example, just 2 weeks ago, I don't know if anyone saw, we were able to make personal data and a thing for for students and faculty and staff. So in your My Account at sc.edu, you can go in, put your preferred name and pronouns, first name and last name. You can also choose an email alias. Students were previously not allowed to have email aliases, and now they are. You can put your pronouns. You can also put your gender identity. Now, right now, that only feeds into email. So your email, your display name, and your alias only feed in. But hopefully, you know, we've got phases 2 and 3 that are working their way. They take some time. We have a lot of systems that are all kind of working against each other. Hopefully, we can get these things to update into Banner so that they would go to Carolina Card, update, and they would feed also to Blackboard. Blackboard, you can't already change your name in, but just so everything updates automatically. And so we've got some future projects that we're working on as well. So phases 2 and 3 of preferred name change, personal data changes, moving and grooving. We also have a bathroom map. Not only do we have a bathroom map that's currently on, for all gender restrooms, it's currently on the website, main map. I'm also on a strategic planning committee. You know, in words, you just can't say one word, it's that one. Strategic planning committee that is working on accessible capital projects. And one of our main focus is on expanding the amount of all gender restrooms that we have on campus, and even identifying, not just changing already existing single stall restrooms, but also creating more if need be. So places like the Russell House or the library or Darla Moore that don't have single stall all gender restrooms, expanding those. So we do have a lot of future programs on the table. We're also, you may have also heard that this coming fall will be the first year that UofSC has gender inclusive housing policy that is official and on the books. And so students can go through the roommate matching process, opting into gender inclusive housing and get matched with another person who is also opted into gender inclusive housing. We're not asking why they're doing gender inclusive housing. It's not really our concern, but we want to make sure, that anyone who feels that they are comfortable with gender inclusive housing or wants gender inclusive housing can have it. And so that will be starting in the fall. We are really excited about that. We have a few hundred students. It's also in every single building. So we're not just relegating all of our gender inclusive students to one hall. We're allowing them to be in every building so that they can take advantage of the living and learning communities they want to be a part of. If they wanted to live in a certain hall, everyone has the opportunity to be in gender inclusive housing no matter where they want to live. Also great for being across all price points. We are also potentially, as a future project, also looking into an LGBTQ plus specific living and learning community. Hopefully starting to look into that in this coming fall for next fall. So that would also be a space for students who do want to live in an affinity group, essentially, to be able to have that opportunity. What else? We have a gender neutral policy for intramural sports. And any student who, however they identify, is welcome to play any intramural team with the gender they identify with. Our staff, or even our student staff, are trained on the best practices for like allowing students to, we kind of sit down and say, if they show you a calendar card and it doesn't look like what you think it should look like with their name on their IM leagues, let them play. We'll let them play. You can ask your supervisor these questions later, but we don't need to be asking a lot of questions to people. We want people to have fun. Intramurals are for fun. And so we want anyone to be able to participate. Also, HRT is available on the student insurance. And so our trans students can get some of the medical interventions that they are looking to get. That was added a couple of years ago as well. And yeah, we just have really a long list of ways that we've been able to move towards supporting our transgender and also other LGBTQ plus students more than we, I just am really, in 10 years of the progress we've made has been really incredible. Lastly, in the community, we do some of the educational outreach. So I actually am doing a LGBTQ 101/LGBT intimate partner violence presentation tomorrow with Jason Halterman, who works in SAVIP. We are doing that presentation for SCAD VASA, which is a sexual assault and violence intervention and prevention office in Columbia. We do presentations like that quite often. We did one for Epworth Children's Home a couple of months ago. We've worked with Harriet Hancock for our Trans Day Remembrance Vigil a few years ago. And so we do try to be in the community and not just an insular Carolina program as much as we can. I've also been working with Heathwood Hall. They're really interested in working with Iris. And also, I think it's great to be able to work with high schoolers who are looking to go to college and have a little bit of fun and connect with them as well. So I feel like that's kind of a laundry list of things, but I just really, if you haven't been at UofSC in a few years or you haven't been as connected as you would like to be, I just wanted to get an overview of how things have really progressed and moved forward since I was in school, since I was an undergrad, and what we're continuing to do for the students here.
There's a lot to be proud of. It's called Gamecock Pride because obviously we're proud to be Gamecocks, but I think what you're also seeing is, in many ways, our institution catching up to some other areas in higher education. But I also think that you see that we are also setting a standard within our state, which is great. And that has not always been our history. So there's a lot to be proud of there. Caroline, I know that you were working to see if we could get some of the student leaders to join us. And I know that you said that Iris, again,
Mhm.
commonly known as BGLSA.
Mhm.
Can you remind them what IRIS stands for?
It stands for Individuals Respecting Identities and Sexualities.
So I don't believe you were able to have a member of IRIS join us this evening, but I do believe you had another student leader who could join us. Is that right?
Yes. So, our students are students, and so they're working in the summer. And so Casper, who is the president of IRIS, is not able to be here, but I did see Zenith came in. And so Zenith is the president of our Trans Student Alliance, which was also started a few years ago. I do want to say that so much of what we have been able to accomplish is because of y'all who were in these student organizations before, and who continue to know that USC could be better and could be doing more. And so, that's why I want to highlight the work that our current students are doing. So Zenith, if you would like to, please talk a little bit about TSA and the work that you've done. Also, Zenith worked with us for our Pridecella event, was like my student assistant essentially for that event. And so would love to hear from you, Zenith.
Sure thing, yeah. We have the Trans Student Alliance here at USC. It's a great safe space for all trans and non-binary people to come and chill and get to know each other. It's mostly a social type of thing. We just plan a lot of different events and try to help Carolina feel like home to us. 1%, I believe Caroline said, here on campus. So yeah, it's a very great club, and I am excited to be the president for it in the fall.
Congratulations to you, Zenith. And truly, we need your leadership. We need your leadership not only at USC. I can say, as a person who lives in Columbia, we need your leadership in Columbia too. So I hope that you will continue to advocate within and beyond the bounds of the university. And Caroline, really, if you're comfortable to it, let's open up for questions. Let's open up for comments. And I do want to also highlight what you said earlier, which is that we have a cross section of USC experiences here in this Zoom call. So if you are joining us and there's also something of significance from your time at Carolina, or something that you have driven forward since you have become an alum of the university, I hope you'll share that too, because the other thing that we want to try to build upon as an alumni council is so much of our history, so much of our impact is not well documented and is not well shared. So this is also an opportunity to do that. So what questions might you have for Caroline, for Zenith, for any member of the Alumni Council? What comments would you like to share as well about the impressive list of opportunities that are available at our Carolina?
So I was sent a question. I'll answer this one first because it was sent to me a while ago, and I want to make sure that I answer it. So the first question that I have here is, do you get the sense that the state of South Carolina acts as a barrier for recruitment of out-of-state LGBTQ plus students? So I want to answer this honestly, and one of the things is we kind of don't know because we don't necessarily take data, admissions data about LGBTQ plus students, and so we don't necessarily have a sense of how many maybe LGBT students apply and then decide not to come, or how many don't apply because they don't want to. But so from a numbers standpoint, we don't really know, but I think it's a yes and a no. In terms of being a barrier, I have talked to many parents and students and rising seniors and people who got into Carolina and are looking to come, who are wondering about the state. They are from out of state, usually from up north or out west, and have their own conceptions about what's the South and what South Carolina is like. And so that's generally when I try to connect them with a student who is from out of state as well, to kind of talk through like what that student has experienced. So I think so sometimes, yes, it can be a barrier because people perceive that there isn't maybe a community here, or that the larger community is not as accepting, or that their safety is in question. And I think those are legitimate fears and legitimate things that our students worry about quite often. But I also think that there are non-identity based reasons that people come to USC. And so especially for out-of-state students, if it has a great, program that they're looking to go to, or they get a scholarship, they may be wanting to come here, but maybe they get connected with me so I can tell them about, more things. But I don't have like a numbers based answer for that, but I could probably say probably for a lot of our students. But we do have a lot of LGBTQ plus students here who are out of state, out of state specifically. So yes and no.
Well, and to add on to that, Caroline, I would say that for the Alumni Council, representation matters, and a position like yours and opportunities that you provide, representation matters. And many of us did experience a time at USC where there wasn't something you could find very easily on a website or in a directory for the university. Or if you could find it, it may have just simply been a baseline entry point like Safe Zone, for example. There is so much more robust opportunity now, which is great.
Absolutely. And then I have a second question. I got two questions on the docket here, but I'm also happy that if people want to raise their hands or whatever. Curious how alumni can be helpful, advocacy within certain departments, targeted donations, mentorship of young alumni, something else. All of those sound great to me. We love to get alumni involved, especially my biggest thing, so, I am a white, cisgender, bisexual woman, and I work in higher ed. And so that is one experience. Not all of my students are white or bisexual or cisgender or looking to work in higher ed. And so especially when I would love to get some more alumni who can come in and talk about their careers, talk about the work that they're doing, since they graduated. So many of our students are wondering, is there life after college, and not just literally health wise, can they live after college, but also can they work, can they have families, can they be successful alumni, successful people in their career fields. So I would love to have some alumni mentorship in some capacity. I know that in the past Black Alumni Caucus has done a networking dinner with our Black Male Initiative students or students of color. So I would love to do something like that with our LGBTQ plus students, and targeted donations. I mean, yeah, great. So I'm happy to hear any ideas. Again, this is a brand new organization, and so I would love to be able to work more with our people who have graduated and want to support our students who are still here or who are here now.
And that is definitely one of the goals that we've established for the Alumni Council, is to not only think about what scholarship opportunities we can provide, but also can we use that funding to support certain initiatives at the university as well. If IRIS or TSA or any student organization is looking to provide something, how can we support that? I also want to make sure to reference too that we are working to keep intersectionality in mind here as well, because we do not want our efforts as an Alumni Council to just simply be bottled into the LGBTQ plus Alumni Council. We know that we have members of the family, if you will, who are part of the various Alumni Councils. Young Alumni Council, Black Alumni Council, we look at the Veterans Alumni Council. Any way that we can also show the intersectionality is something we want to do, and we're eager to do it. We will need your help though, because we are new. And we need to make sure that we're building those bonds beyond the membership of the Alumni Council board itself. Questions for Caroline? Comments? Experiences you want to share from your time at USC that are appropriate to share on a Zoom call?
I have a question about, are you pushing for the admissions application to help ID LGBTQ plus students? That's an ongoing conversation. With admission.
Let me take a minute to, I think Rodney, do you mind if I put you on the spot here to introduce yourself as a member of the Alumni Council?
Not at all. I'm in my car, so I hope everybody can hear me okay. So my name is Rodney Tao. I am a 1993 graduate of the South Carolina Honors College with a degree in broadcasting. And one thing I will say that's very interesting for me in this experience is that I did my senior thesis was an audio documentary called Growing Up Gay in the South. So to see this come to fruition at this stage of the game is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I've been very active both in my employer and in the community. Here in the upstate, I represent Greenville, South Carolina. So it's good to see my alma mater kind of take this on as well, and that I can be a part of it. So thank you very much.
We're glad to have you, Rodney, and I always appreciate hearing your Southern accent too. So thank you.
I don't have a Southern accent at all.
Not at all, not at all. I do want to call attention though to something that Simone dropped into the chat, which is the Mentorship Hub that the Alumni Association has developed. So Simone, can I put you on the spot and can you talk a little bit about that Mentorship Hub?
Yes, you sure can. So, hello everyone. My name is Simone Keller, and I currently serve as the Director of Alumni Affinity Engagement. So I get to work with such amazing volunteers on all 4 of our affinity councils, as Drew mentioned. So we do have a Black Alumni Council, an LGBTQ plus Alumni Council. We have a Veterans Alumni Council and a Young Alumni Council. And so with this Mentorship Hub, the idea is to connect Gamecock alumni with Gamecock students. So we are in partnership with the Office of Career Services. So Career Services, of course, will input the student data, and then we are asking that all of our alumni join. And so we are going to begin, it's going to be kind of like it's going to be kind of like a LinkedIn for just UofSC alumni and students. And so with the help of Career Services, they'll be inputting student data, and then we'll be able to allow and match up our alumni with our students.
I definitely encourage you to sign up there. I need to also tell myself to do the same thing. I need to also go and sign up for the Mentorship Hub. I've dropped into the chat the link to OMSA's webpage, not only so you can learn about all of OMSA's opportunities, but also the initiatives and the opportunities that Caroline leads. So a not shameless plug for the great things that are happening there. I hope you'll go check it out. And let me also remind you as well about how you can get involved with the Alumni Council. We are brand new. So we do not have any predetermined things we've done before. We have discussed and determined a vision and a mission. We've determined 4 overarching goals, and we're just now starting our work to really break into committees and see some events come to life, discuss how we can better serve as ambassadors at the university, discuss how we can provide scholarships and other opportunities, and also make sure that our voice is heard at different opportunities. I know that we've got the Board of Governors meeting coming up on Thursday, and I look forward to joining that with Simone as well. So there's a lot of involvement opportunities because really the slate is clean. So join us and help things come alive. I also want to reference one other bit of applause to the Alumni Association here, because the standard model really is that alumni councils tend to have more representation just from the state of South Carolina. But it was determined that we could have a more broad national membership. And that is because we understand that so many individuals may go to the university, but not choose to stay in the state of South Carolina for a multitude of different reasons, though certainly people come back as well. So I hope that you'll take a moment to take a look at our website and notice the diversity of experiences and regions that are part of our Alumni Council. Brian.
I want to also say that follow us on Facebook and Instagram and encourage others, because people do look at that to say, oh, well, you know, you're not that successful. You only have 100 followers or whatever. So we want to really build up our social network. And you can help, make that happen.
Absolutely.
Pat Patterson, are you following us?
He called you out. Better do it, Pat. So Daniel, with that wonderful pride flag behind you, go ahead, my friend.
I know it's Pride Month, had to do it.
Yeah.
I need an inclusive flag, actually. I need to go find one. But I'm Daniel Peach, class of 2010. I was Moore School and Honors College. I am based in London, so a little late for me, but very happy to join this call. And then I'm a program manager at Google. So happy to meet you all. Yeah, I was just curious. I guess I'll be in Columbia later this year, but I was curious, for those of you who live in Columbia, how you feel like the city's changed Because I got the sense that for a while it was, there was maybe a small kind of lightly visible gay scene, but was just curious about that.
That's a great question. There's several of us who are residents of Columbia on this Zoom session. And Daniel, really, thanks for being with us on London time too. That's impressive. So I know that I'm in Columbia. Obviously, Simone is, Caroline is, Brian is, Pat is. Not spilling everybody's business about where you live, but that's what I recall. So anybody who wants to speak, go ahead, unmute and tell us what you think of Columbia.
I personally love living in Columbia. I think it's built up a lot since 2012. Well, I really started in 2009. So when I started in 2009, till now, there's so many more businesses. There's so really fun activity, like the Soda City Market. We have a lot of ways to get involved in terms of the LGBT scene. I don't know if it's grown, but I do think it's more visible. I just went to Outfest 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 Saturdays ago. And that's like a mini Pride that USC Pride does now, or that SC Pride does now, excuse me. And we got there, it was pretty packed. And so I think, and I know people from all over the state came in to go to Outfest. And so I think there is a pretty visible community, if not, I don't know if it's larger or smaller than it used to be, but definitely I think more visible.
And to piggyback on what Caroline says, I do think Columbia has become more visible. I know at the university. So it's been a great need for an LGBTQ plus affinity council. Brian, kind of led the charge, and Rodney, they have been getting on us about making sure that this comes, to fruition. And we're so glad that it has. And so I think that Columbia has grown a lot as well. And we're still learning. And I think, the city is kind of doing the same, because even at the Alumni Center, just like Caroline spoke about gender inclusive items, or gender inclusive restrooms and things like that. And so the Alumni Center is also incorporating that as well. So whenever you come back to your Alumni Center home, there will be, special places that are designated for people to feel comfortable, because we want all of our alumni to, come back home and make sure that they feel included.
I will say that Pride, of course, 2 years ago, because we've had a pandemic, so distributed stickers to go into businesses. And, really they were just asking you to put the sticker up during October, not last year, but the year before. Well, those stickers are still up in many businesses. So, which I think is a big deal, because, that Pride flag has become more recognizable. So I do think that people are stepping up and, stepping out a little bit more in Columbia than, they have in the past. Pat, you might want to, yeah.
I'm sorry. I wanted to say that Columbia also, the city ordinance just banned gay conversion therapy for people under 18. Now, of course, we are in the backyard of the legislature and they're kind of challenging those things, but the city itself is looking to support the LGBT community in a lot of ways.
And just to piggyback on things that are happening off the campus, Drew and I both work at Midlands Tech, and I'm proud to say that we have just begun laying the groundwork for a student organization at Midlands Tech. So we're going to give some student representation and hopefully begin creating safer spaces on our community college campus. But we also, I'm not sure how many of you all know about the historic Columbia Foundation's initiative to document LGBTQ plus history. They just had an event last week to kick that off. And I think that's going to be a wonderful project that's going to help document not just the history of our bars and our events, but also how GSA turned into BGLA, which I was very proud to serve as their advisor for, 8 years, when it turned into BGLSA and now IRIS. And so I think the biggest, as far as to the original question about the Columbia environment, I think that the opportunities have gotten more broad. You see the art museum hosting events that actively reach out to our community. You see drag brunches and things like that popping up. Gosh, I'm waiting for a drag queen to be at the drive-thru at McDonald's the next time I come through at this point. And I'm saying this as a drag queen. Oh, by the way, FYI, hi everyone, my name's Pat Patterson. My pronouns are he and him, but in about 2 hours, my pronouns are going to be she and hers, because I'm also Patty O'Furniture, host of the longest running drag show in the state of South Carolina, 9 o'clock tonight at PT's 1109. I was also given birth to at the Birdcage, USC's annual campus drag show, and very proud to have been a part of that for many years. Not sure where my invitation was. It got lost in the mail the last 3 or 4 years, but Caroline, look into that, please, if you need my address. But I do think that the Columbia community has gotten more casual about our events. We have the Harriet Hancock Center, we have 2 gay bars, we have our Pride events, but I think, to Brian's point, the Brave the Rainbow campaign, we're seeing a lot more supportive businesses and a lot more allied organizations supporting us. And I split my time between here and Charleston, and I can safely say that our community here is much more inclusive, much more vibrant than it is down in Charleston. Charleston, we're a tourist destination, yay. But so I'm very proud to be a resident of Columbia.
I'll say ditto to all that. And I'm really glad, Pat, you told your story, because I was like, eventually Pat's got to tell the group. So I'm glad you did.
And Pat, I think you ought to always be a part of Birdcage. So
it has a very special place in my heart.
Of course, yeah.
But
as it should.
But I also realized that there was a period of time where, organizations grow and events grow. And I am embarrassed to say that I was recruited to host the Clemson drag show. And the year that I did that may have been the reason that they didn't invite me to the Birdcage, but we've got to pick it up, because Clemson is outpacing us in LGBTQ activities. Their campus drag show has close to 2,000 people, and it has to be split over 2 nights. And they do annual events, or actually do periodic events at their alumni center, hosted by drag queens, hosted by members of the trans community in the Clemson area. So any way that I can lend my personality to support, I would be honored to use Patty to draw more attention to both the Alumni Council and to anything that our amazing students are doing, and of course, to all the work in OMSA.
Thank you. Noted and written down to be remembered and used for sure.
I mean, I think we need, everybody's input. You've seen, Pat, things from other campuses. Daniel, you've probably seen stuff in another country, so, one of the reasons that I wanted to start this is because we were one of the few remaining SEC schools that did not have, an LGBTQ plus affinity group, so, we don't want to be second fiddle.
Absolutely right. So this is what do they say? The call to action at the end. Here's your call to action. We do not want to be second fiddle. And that means we need a robust alumni association. That also means we need a robust alumni council. So I encourage you to connect with us. And if you have not filled out the interest form, that's there on the Alumni Association's webpage for us, fill that out, because we are very much in the early stages of thinking about how we can use our collective time and talents and energy to continue to drive progress forward for the university, for our alums in Columbia and beyond. So Caroline, we also know too that none of this could be possible without your leadership, because you really make sure that the current students are able to have the best possible experience so they become alums just like us. So thank you for all that you do. And Zenith, thank you for your leadership as well, because you are providing an advocacy that we desperately need in the Carolina community. So with that in mind, let me remind you that there's a variety of links in the chat. Use them, visit those web pages, sign up. A variety of opportunities are also provided beyond the Alumni Council within the Alumni Association as well. And this is the first of what we hope and we plan to be many events that are provided by the LGBTQ Alumni Council. And we really appreciate you making this first one a success. So Simone, thank you as always to you. Anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I am good. Thank you all so much for joining.
And Caroline, thank you as well. Anything you want to say before we close?
Thanks y'all so much for being here. I'm so glad to see everyone here. I hope that I can get to know y'all better, please. I'm gonna drop my email right here. So if you have any questions for me, anything y'all are thinking about, go ahead and drop me a line.
Happy Pride Month, y'all. And of course, go Gamecocks.
Okay.
See y'all. Bye.
Bye.